Today on Hearts of Heroes.
If this comes through the window, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
A flash flood leaves 18 people trapped in a small town diner.
The flash flooding started to happen throughout the entire town.
Wow.
It was very scary. It just came very fast and furious.
67 was no longer a road. It was a river. It was a raging river.
To help save them, first responders would have to perform a dangerous rescue.
We have people who have never walked across a ladder before. That's over a torrent of water. If they fall in and they drag one of my firefighters with them, they're both dead.
I was in fear for my life.
These heroes are there for those in need during some of the most difficult moments in their lives.
Imagine you're sitting in your favorite restaurant enjoying a nice meal with family and friends. You know that there's a flash flood warning, but suddenly a flash flood hits, trapping everyone inside. Debris starts pummeling the building, and you can't tell if the restaurant walls will keep you safe.
For the customers and staff of one Connecticut restaurant, all they could do was brace for the worst and hope that first responders would get to them in time.
Every small town has one, that cornerstone restaurant where people gather for a hearty meal and good conversation. For the community of Oxford, Connecticut, population 12,000, it's the Brookside Inn.
This place is a second home to me. Everyone's very welcoming, friendly.
Everybody knows your name. I've known people in here for years.
It's like a huge family. It's a huge family around here.
That sense of community stretches well beyond the walls of this restaurant and includes the Oxford Fire Department.
The Oxford Fire Department is an all-volunteer fire department. It consists of 3 fire stations. We cover 33.5 square miles in the town of Oxford, do about 500 calls per year.
Oxford has what is known as a mutual aid agreement with neighboring stations. This includes the Beacon Falls Fire Department.
Everyone works together. We train together, we're neighbors, we help each other out through thick and thin no matter what.
Here, even the youngest citizens have a deep sense of commitment and service.
My name is Graydon, and I've been a part of the department since January.
We also have junior members, which are members that are between the ages of 14 and 18. They actually participate in some of the calls that we respond to.
In the summer of 2024, when a line of training thunderstorms unleashed flash flooding in Oxford, it would once again be neighbors helping neighbors. The staff and patrons of the Brookside Inn knew that they were in for a rain-soaked evening, but they weren't prepared for what happened next.
I was the person working during the day, and it was around 4 o'clock. We noticed the water was building up. And I said, wow, this is abnormal. This is really abnormal.
While hours earlier, a flash flood warning had been issued, the actual rainfall and extreme flooding did exceed all computer model forecasts.
A storm cell came over and just kind of stopped over Oxford, and it just stopped. It didn't move.
That river came out so fast. When I saw it coming over the curb, I think that we're in trouble.
The flash flooding started to happen throughout the entire town.
You couldn't make it back out the building because in a minute, you were already over a foot, and it's raging. It was under 8 minutes for it to be probably 4 feet.
In an instant, Route 67, the main road running right alongside the restaurant, was a torrential river, leaving no escape.
We thought we could get out, and in a matter of minutes, there was no way. The water was just, it was rapid.
Coming up,
the water was up to the deck, up here, up to the actual deck.
I was terrified. Didn't think I was going to see my kids again.
But first, whether you're in a restaurant or your home kitchen, it's always important to practice safe cooking. Here are a few tips for you chefs out there.
We don't often associate food with fire, unless we're talking about a flambe or a fondue. And did you know that some foods are more dangerous to cook and require greater attention during preparation?
Number 1, this one is easy, bacon. Never leave cooking bacon unattended. The oil released by its fat is flammable. 2, garlic. Loaded with natural oils, it can pop during frying, creating dangerous splatter. And finally, flour packed with ignitable fine particles. This cooking staple should never be put in a frying pan alone.
Remember to keep your cool and cook with care. It's a recipe for kitchen success.
In the summer of 2024, 18 people were trapped inside an Oxford, Connecticut restaurant during a flash flood. Water and debris were slamming against the building.
The debris, the garage doors, anything floating by. In 60 seconds, the water was raging.
The water was up to the deck up here.
I was terrified. Didn't think I was going to see my kids again.
Despite her own fears, server Nicole Salva did her best to keep everybody calm.
Because I was the one working, I felt a little responsible to make sure everybody felt at ease.
As the flood surged, the Oxford Fire Department was inundated with rescue calls.
All available manpower, respond to the firehouse to stand by.
Things started to get worse. The flash flooding started to happen throughout the entire town.
The Oxford Fire Department was nothing short of heroic as they responded to emergency after emergency.
We were running nonstop with the flash flood. We needed to get our mutual aid partners in here to help us.
The city of Beacon Hose Fire Department was already on high alert.
I was listening to the Oxford Fire Department on my radio, and I heard them getting dispatched for call after call after call, and I was like, something's happening in Oxford. We got as many guys and girls as we could here to be prepared to respond.
Jeremy called me, said he needed our rescue truck with the Swiftwater rescue trailer, dive team trailer.
We heard other calls go out, and my dad told me to get my stuff on and to head down to see what we could do.
The Beacon Hose Company directed a brigade of trucks, ambulances, and rescuers to Oxford. But even these experienced first responders were shocked at what they came upon.
Once I got to Route 67, you could just see it. Coming up to the scene, there's cars and trees and just devastation.
Jody Williams lives in the apartment next door to the restaurant. She and her pet Chihuahua were relaxing upstairs, unaware of what was happening right outside their door.
I had no idea anything was going on. I looked out my window. The water was up to the bottom of my window. 67 was no longer a road. It was a river. It was a raging river. Literally cars and dumpsters were floating down it. Propane tanks, roofs, decks, and hitting whatever was in their way.
Jody made a frantic call to her daughter, who lives in a neighboring town.
I sent her the video of the water. She's like, I'm coming.
Undeterred, her daughter navigated through the outskirts of the flood and positioned herself in a safe location on the opposite side of Route 67. Inside the restaurant, people tried not to panic, but there was no telling how much longer they had.
We saw things floating by. We heard things crashing into the building. The water was rising so quickly. It was frightening.
I said to myself, if this comes through the window, we're all gonna die.
Nicole made a direct call to Oxford Fire Chief Scott Pelletier's cell phone.
I said, Scott, I'm in a situation here. There's 18 of us. There's an elderly woman, and the water's gonna go over the building.
She was frantic. She's, I'm fearing for my life.
And I said, Scott, I think it's gonna come down. He was like, I'll send the truck out. I'll send the truck out. But you have to give me time.
There was too much rescuing going on between the fire station and the Brookside Inn that we had to handle. The roads and the bridges started giving ways and the roads were eroding. We couldn't get down there anyway if we wanted to.
As luck would have it, an ambulance from Beacon Falls was approaching the restaurant from the other direction on their way to another call. Jody Williams, the neighbor's daughter, flagged down the EMTs.
She's on the phone with her mother, and she said that my mother's in this house. She's trapped in there. She can't get out.
Beacon Hose Company number 1, all available manpower is requested.
There was debris flowing by. There were vehicles moving. My biggest concern was one of those vehicles would hit the house and cause it to give way.
They soon learned that there were even more people trapped in the restaurant next door.
They called me on the phone and they're like, this is really bad over here.
We're going to be effecting a rescue at the Brookside Inn, building number 2, 15 to 20 occupants.
So we got to do something.
Coming up.
We have people who have never walked across a fire department ladder before. If they fall in and drag one of my firefighters with them, they're both dead.
In the summer of 2024, a flash flood was ravaging the close-knit community of Oxford, Connecticut. 18 people were trapped inside a restaurant, and next door, a woman and her dog were unable to break free from the raging water.
Now, first responders from the Beacon Falls Ladder Unit had not one, but 2 dangerous rescues to pull off. The question was how to get 19 terrified people and a dog across the furious floodwater.
As soon as I pulled in, I was like, this is much more hazardous than I thought it was going to be.
The crew had to quickly devise a plan to get the people across Route 67, which was now a torrential river.
The water's coming pretty fast. It's a definite, imminent life safety issue.
They decided to use their truck ladder as a makeshift bridge and help the people crawl across to the other side of the highway.
We have people who have never walked across a fire department ladder before and have them walk across a ladder that's over a torrent of water, that if they fall in and they drag one of my firefighters with them, they're both dead. So while we had to move quickly, we had to move as safely as possible, too.
All right, we have the aerial in the air. We're going to go for a rescue on building number 1.
The first attempted rescue would be Jody Williams and her Chihuahua. Chief Jeremy Rodrigo was on the phone telling her what to expect.
We're gonna extend the ladder out to the house. We're gonna bust through the window. When we get through the window, we're gonna ask you to come out onto the ladder. Somebody is going to escort you across the ladder.
It was like I was in a bear hug.
There wasn't a lot of time to ask permission and plan this out. You know, this is what we're doing.
He really put his whole body around me, so as I'm going, he was totally surrounding me and making sure I was safe. I was trying to move as quick as I could. I just had a sense of relief, like somebody was helping me.
Okay, we have 1 successful rescue at this time, uninjured party.
So I crossed, and then they brought me my dog. I got down, my daughter was there, and I just gave her the hugest hug. There was one young firefighter that gave me some towels because we were all so wet.
She was exhausted, nervous, and so what I had to do was calm her nerves and keep her as comfortable as possible.
He was just so young, but so calming. It was amazing. I was like, this kid has a presence. This kid is gonna go somewhere.
But they still had 18 more people to rescue from the restaurant next door.
Command Seaman, just beginning operations on building number 2.
They contacted Nicole with their next plan of action.
And we're gonna land on this particular platform on the side of the building here.
We were able to drop the ladder right down onto that pad, so there was no climbing onto the ladder. They could just simply walk onto the ladder.
I made my way down the ladder and got inside the building.
Firefighters chaperoned each person across the ladder.
Get everyone on the ladder safely and walk them up and just keep redoing it 18 more times.
That firefighter here, just keep going forward, keep going, don't stop, just keep going forward.
The water is raging underneath you. You do not want to fall or slip.
We had one person, she was an elderly lady. She couldn't walk the ladder. We put her into a Stokes basket. We ended up sliding her up the ladder.
The last victim has been successfully recovered via Stokes. All dwellings are empty at this time.
It was such a sense of relief to see every single person out of that building alive.
Once I did get across, that's when I broke down. That's when I let go, because I was trying to be strong for everyone else.
For every single person to be rescued was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I can't thank them enough for what they did, how they came and rescued us, got us all. I will forever be grateful for them, forever, forever.
Coming up, we take you inside a real Swiftwater training facility.
We can cut out the light, we can simulate a thunderstorm, we can simulate rain and wind.
But first, as you've just seen, the elderly often require a little more help. Here's a tip on how you can help protect your loved ones as they age.
As our relatives get older, they can become more accident prone. Luckily, there are some things you can do to keep your loved ones independent and safe when they're home alone.
Life-saving alert devices are readily available. These can be worn by the elderly, and in case of emergency, they alert authorities with a simple click of a button. Some of these devices are motion activated should the victim become unconscious. Another way to help keep your older family members safe is by installing safety handles where slips are common. especially in the shower.
Taking the time to set up extra safeguards ensures your loved ones are safe and sound when you're not around.
The survivors of the Oxford flood owe their lives to the extensive training of their rescuers. Today, Sheldon Yellen of our sponsor, Belfour Property Restoration, got to personally experience this rigorous swiftwater training in a 144,000-gallon tank.
Steve, here we are in Fayetteville, North Carolina at the training facility. What are the things that this facility can help us with?
What it can help us with is we can run a 7-mile-an-hour current of rapid water. We can cut out the lights. We can simulate a thunderstorm. We can simulate rain and wind in here. We have vehicles that we can put in the tank to help train the guys on how to get people out in a swift water incident. To present the first responders with real-life situations that they would find themselves in.
This facility makes firefighters at the ready all the time. That education, the money, the training, all the time and energy goes into being prepared. When that 911 call comes in, it's go time, but all the preparation in place.
Absolutely. That's why our motto is training today for tomorrow's rescues.
Sheldon joined in on today's ladder crawl training exercise with the elite members of the Raleigh, North Carolina Fire Department.
This simulation is simulating a storm going on. It's imperative that you guys are training in all situations.
In the heat of the storm, you've obviously got a lot going on. It's obviously important to be focused. That helps to keep things into perspective and helps us to remain calm in that time.
In any emergency, but in this special case with this flash flooding, how important is it that communication and making the victim feel comfortable and coach them towards success?
It's important, obviously, because the victim is already in a tough situation and they're already stressed. They're now going to be on a ladder, so trying to take some of those nerves away is important so that they're actually able to get across the ladder safely.
Looking down at that current, I saw all these items floating by quickly under there. It really speaks to the power of the water, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, even a small amount of moving water can carry large objects. You've got vehicles that could be in the water, trees. Sometimes they can even move houses. So it's obviously something to be very aware of and to stay away from.
Jumped into that 7-mile-an-hour current. The power of that water, being at the mercy of that water, losing control of your motion, it's unbelievable. From 7 to 8 seconds, one end of this large pool to the other.
It just tells you that it's very important to take the evacuations very seriously and to stay away from moving water at all costs.
This intense training session provides a powerful, high-octane glimpse into the unwavering dedication that first responders bring to their work every single day.
Hey guys, come on in here.
Now, it was time to give the group from the Brookside Inn a chance to show their appreciation.
What do you guys remember from that night?
I've been in town 60 years. Never saw the river like that.
We were so concerned watching the cars headed towards your house that if one of those cars hit that house was just gonna give way.
This young man was awesome because he brought me into the ambulance, and you were very calming at that time.
Once I opened the door up and you were standing there, it was like beyond a sense of relief. Yeah. I just felt like I was saved right there.
You were great, keeping your customers calm.
Yes, I try to keep everybody calm.
Typically, when you go into work, that's not what you expect to be doing. But when presented that, she responded very heroically.
I owe them everything. This is why I'm here, because of them.
They are heroes and beyond heroes. Like, they were my angels.
Seeing what they did with the ladder and how appreciative people are makes me really proud to be a part of the department.
When you have people that are telling you you saved their life and they're thanking you with the level of gratitude and emotion that they were displaying, it's a good feeling.
True heroes. True heroes. To risk your life to help another human being is a true act of heroism. One of the greatest things you could do.
It can be easy to underestimate the power of Mother Nature. When a flood, hurricane, or tornado strikes, people can find themselves with nowhere to turn.
But in those paralyzing moments, remember, you are not alone, and help is likely not far away. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Hearts of Heroes.